Hello, and welcome to the first in a series of videos where I tackle my watercolor collection. And today I am starting off with my cheap sets or sets that I don't know their name, don't know their label. It's Gorn, so I don't know the brand, and I can't say anything else about them other than they exist and I have them, or I've had them a long time and they may be past their used by date. Now I'm starting off with this incredibly cheap set, the kind that you buy for kids from a really cheap store. I don't know where this one was purchased, but it is not a very good set, and the color order is absolutely sending me. It's not even in any sort of rainbow order. Everything is just thrown together haphazardly. It is very annoying. Um, but yes, I can't recommend this set. Buy fun stuff. But the you know, it is what it is, and we all move on. Now, this next set, I'm not exactly sure of the brand. The plastic cover on top does say something like hard smooth, but I don't know what that means, and it does not come up with anything. Though I know I've seen these sets around, um, so it's probably not too hard to get your hands on. They are decent paints. They're very hard to wet. It takes a fair bit of water to get them wet enough to use on the paper. And that said, this paper is not the best. It is a creative place um, art book that claims to have good paper for wet media. And clearly, in that instance, it does not mean watercolor. But I thought I should test it out because I do have all these books, and it is 180 GSM, so it is decently thick. But there is very little ability to move the paint around. It dries extremely fast. Um, but this paint also takes a lot to wet. So, there are floors on both ends. Now, these paints in themselves aren't bad, but I do have a lot of sets and a lot that I prefer. So, in keeping with trying to reduce the junk I have, I think I will stick with the other palettes that are coming up soon, and I will use this paper for other medium, not so much watercolor. But it is what it is, and it's good to test these things out and to know some things. But as you can see, even there, the hard to mousse is significantly brighter and more vibrant than the fun stuff. So that is something to keep in mind. I don't remember the hard to mousse being very expensive, more expensive than the fun stuff, most likely, but not so expensive. So it's definitely a place to start. But I have other palettes with me that are, I would say, comparable, but they work cheaper. Um, Now this is another paper that this was another actual typo book that promised to be watercolor safe. I don't think that's the right terminology, but it did say it could be used for watercolor, but it really shouldn't be. I do not recommend that, but as I'm learning, a lot of the cheaper brands that I used to favor when I was younger are not very good. That's why they are cheaper. And that's not saying you can't get good things at a reasonable price. There are a lot of things out there. Like one of my favorite pencils at the moment I brought from Kmart. So it's not saying that you can't get cheap things that are good. It's just saying that a lot of them will sort of let you down. Just need to be smart about things, I say. Or I'm learning more than anything else. Um, But yeah, I think if you come across one of those sets and you just want to have a lot of different colors to mess around with, just in your art books and journals, then yeah, I would say they are fine to work with. And this is another very interesting book and an interesting art palette here. I do not know where it is from. I do not have its name. I have had it for a while. I can tell you nothing about it. It comes with its own brush, pencil, sharpener, as well as some really, really lovely paints. But it doesn't have any label on it anymore. It has been mildly used, and I don't know. But they're really, really nice paints. And this paper, the has that extremely, it's almost like a napkin or paper towel texture, but it's thicker paper. Yeah, it's 210 GSM, and it does say it's watercolor. It is, again, another one from Typo, and it works fairly well. So, like I said, one of the things from Typo papers is pretty bad. One of them works decent. Um, and the colors look really quite nice on it. They actually look better on the paper towel textured paper than the smoother paper, which I think is very interesting. But this palette I'm definitely keeping and will use. The colors are quite lovely and bright, and I'm love the array of colors that it has. I just wish I knew what it was called, or who made it, or where I got it. Some of these things, we've just had them for a while, and they, yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm going through everything to remember what I have. And if nothing else, I hope I inspire some other people watching to go through your collection, see what you actually have. You might have some hidden gems in there, and you might have a whole heap of junk that you don't need to hold on to anymore. I know that it can be really hard to throw things away, but I'm learning how good it is to have freed up space, because that means I can buy more nicer art supplies because I have places to put them. Oh my god. But no, these have lovely colors, and yeah, I really enjoy the newspaper texture. It's very strange. Newspaper? I meant paper towel. I can't even talk anymore. Now this is metallic pastel accents. They're semi-watercolor, and it's by Art Philosophy by Premer. I don't think I've had these for too long, but I haven't really used them. But they're really, really nice. When they first went down, I was like, oh, they're not really very metallic at all. But once they are dried, they look fantastic. So if you're interested in metallics, I know that these weren't too expensive. I think they were $20. That's Australian dollars, which is not bad at all. Um, I don't think they are particularly light fast or anything like that, but they're really nice accents to have in a journal. So I can't wait to actually use these some more, because they are lovely colors, and when dried, they shimmer like crazy. And if you've seen any of my other videos, I often talk about how much I love glitter and sparkly shit, so it's very, very cool. It does come with its own brush, and there is a bit of a palette on the other side if you want to mix things. I do worry about mixing metallics that it might muddy it. I'll have to give that a go, see how that works out, and see if it um, reduces the shimmer when it's fully dry. As you can see there, it's still a little wet, so didn't have the full effect yet, but you will see. Now here are a whole bunch of watercolor brush pens from Typo. I bought for $10 that I have never, ever, ever used, and I have had these quite a while. There is a 5 brushes in a series of different sizes, 2 round brushes, 1 flat brush, and 2 larger flat brushes, I would say. Um, and for the most part, they are fairly decent, but if I can show you properly, there we go. The flat brush has some weird, badly glued, poor manufacturing. Um, Now, it should be easy enough to trim down those excess hairs and fix it up, but I haven't got around to it yet. I have other flat brushes because I completely forgot I had these. I did not need to buy more of those aqua brushes, but I have without testing these. So I do have them now, and I will trim down that brush eventually and test it out, use it, see how it works. But as you can see, there's two really thick, wide brushes, which I quite like. I do love painting broad strokes. And here we have watercolor pastels. Now it comes with its own brush. This was $17, or 16.95, close enough. It comes with like information little booklet that I think is really sweet. I do believe these were aimed at children more specifically. At least that's what I understood from a lot of the marketing. Um, they seem like a really, really cool idea because you can get the pastel, the oil pastel look if you prefer, or you could theoretically add water to make really nice watercolor look. But at least on this paper so far, it doesn't have the best effect when wet. However, I really do like them when dry. And look at that fluoro yellow. That is insane, and I love it. And also, if you're looking now, you should be able to see that the metallics have dried and how shiny and amazing they are. I cannot wait to use them. So here I'm just testing out the different brushes, and they all work fairly well, except for one, which I will show in a bit. But maybe it's this paper, maybe it's the crayons themselves, but the crayon doesn't move around a lot, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, and I will play around with it some more. I'll see what happens, and if I decide to get rid of them, I will let you know. But for now, I am gonna keep them. And this is the brush. There was a problem. I had difficulty showing it because I am a very uncoordinated individual. But if you can see, it's leaking right around the seal where it screws in. You'll be able to see some water squeezing out of there. I had a very difficult time showing that, but I hope you could see that. Because, yeah, no, the brush, no matter how tightly you try and squeeze it, it will not seal. And so there's always a bit of leaking when you're trying to push the water out of the bristles, which is really, really, really unfortunate. And it's basically non-functional as a brush that way. So I've had to get rid of that one. So of the 5 brushes, 3 of them are really good. One of them does not work. It is broken and non-functional. And one of them needs a good old-fashioned haircut that I cannot be bothered to get around to yet. And all that said, look, if you had brought them and tried them out instantly, you could probably take them back to the store for a refund. But overall, I just cannot be bothered with that. So I don't see the need. Um, there are better brushes you can get elsewhere. And a lot of, like you're seeing here, a lot of the pellets will come with their own, and this one works really well. Um, so yeah, this is another pellet. I don't know its name. Its label's been lost. I don't know the brand, and I do really like it, which is unfortunate that I know nothing about it. They are really nice in vibrant colors, and it's really, really pretty. Again, they look really nice on this textured paper. If you know or know what they might be, please let me know down below. I could even, maybe when I have a little bit more money to spend on art supplies again, buy what you think it might be and compare them side by side and see how it works out. Maybe they are the same, maybe they're not, and it'll be, I don't know, a fun little experiment. But as is, I do really, really like this one. These ones are so, so vibrant and nice. A lot like the other one that I don't know the name of. They're both really nice. Um, yeah, so if, word to the wise, if you buy these palettes, try and keep the name somewhere on them so you know what you're looking at. I'm sure a lot of you already do that, but I clearly did not care when I was younger and now am paying for it. But I am glad to have these. And I also have these Reeves watercolor set. Now, these were the watercolors I used in year 12, which was some years ago now. Um, yeah, no, it was quite a while ago, and unfortunately, some of these have dried over time. But some of them are still quite nice. So we have crimson here, and it is a really lovely color, and it still flows quite nicely. Um, but yes, some of them aren't as nice. They're dried up a bit. We can still add water to it, and it still works fairly decently. Sometimes they're just too crumbly and cracky, and it just looks really not good, and it's hard to wet. And that just happens with time. Now, I don't know if the Reeves paint is one that I should, stick with, like re-get, but I do have a few different paints now, thanks to Christmas. I got some lovely gifts. So I'm, probably going to move on from this set. I don't know, that yellow ochre has seen better days. It did not wet very easy and it's very clumpy. It may not have been worth keeping, but I do believe kept I have kept it for now. I can't even speak. I am sorry. Ugh. But the lemon yellow is really, really pretty there. And I do believe the sap green was easy enough to wet, but I don't know, might have been just my technique. I was finding it a bit difficult to work with. Um, but I haven't done a lot of watercolor in ages. That is something I am planning on tackling. One of my resolutions for the new year is to do more watercolor. I have plenty of supplies, so it should not be difficult. But I could have all the supplies in the world and still find excuses. I'm sure there's a lot of us like that. It's like, oh, I'm just too busy to focus on art at the moment. Ah, but if you say that all the time, you'll never get anywhere, unfortunately. And that can be very, very annoying. Um, but yeah, no, the Reeves paint is fairly decent, although the black was pretty difficult to get out, and the white was completely dried up. The ultramarine blue was also pretty difficult to get out. The burnt umber wasn't the easiest either. They just dried up over time. So I did throw a few of them out. I also have this pencil case full of, I do believe this is Creative Place. Yes, Creative Place paint. That has never, ever, ever been opened. I have not opened it yet. Not this time round. I was going to swatch them all out, but I was realizing how long this video was getting, and I thought I have plenty of open paint already. I will come back to these ones in a future video and can discuss my thoughts there. But I do know just looking at them, it is a strange color combination. I don't know if there were other paints that I have since lost, but there's no yellow. I I cannot believe that they would make a set and it not have yellow, so I have no idea. Now this is a set you can't really see, but it's by Prima again, the same one that did that metallic one. And these have never been opened either. I don't know if they're any good, but it is a complexion set. Again, it's another one that I will show in a future video. So I would definitely recommend subscribing if you haven't already, if you're interested in that. Um, you can see me umming and ahhing there about what paints are worth keeping. I used a few, probably more than I needed to, but it is a work in progress. But no, if you enjoyed this video, I would definitely recommend. I've already filmed my next one. I just need to edit it and to voiceover and all that fun stuff. But I will be going through my bonsai tambi collection, except for the set that I got for Christmas. But the rest of the bonsai tambi I will be going through. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely stick around. Or if you're watching this one later, hopefully it'll be like an automatic play. I don't know. We will see if I can figure things out. Um, but yeah, no, that should be good. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you learned something. If nothing else, probably avoid typo art products. They're not they're not the best. And just be smart about how you spend your money and how you treat your art supplies. Use them. Don't let them dry out. That is very important. Something I need to get through my own head. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and if I'm lucky, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!